Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the happy tomato. I think it turned out super cute. It's squishy. Top kind of gives the illusion that there's the puffy sides. It's not super hard to make. The top is made a little bit different than how I normally would, not the kind of, I guess, the kaleidoscope top that I do. And if you'll notice, this design is not the growing up design on the outside. We do let it kind of grow up while we make it, and then we turn it around when we finish it, which isn't too hard to do, so hopefully you won't have any issues with that either. It is fairly easy to do, and then when you get it on a hook or bands and stuff, there's a wide enough opening where when you flip it around, it's not too hard, it's pretty easy. So we'll get started. And first we'll start with the, well, telling you how many bands are in it would be a good idea. It's 218 red, 31 green, 1 to 3 black bands depending on what you use for the eyes, and then the 2 cheek bands. So I did use the kind of fuchsia for the cheek bands because I think they definitely showed up a little bit better than the pink ones that I normally use. So I'm going to use those again. I just want to fall. Stay. So if you're going to use wrapped bands for the eyes, you're going to want to band the color of the eye that you want. Put it on your hook, wrap it around once into a figure 8, and then grab both sides and wrap it around again, and then pull 2 bands through the color of your tomato, like so. So that would be a wrapped eye band. You'd need 2 of these if you're going to use this. For the designs that we have this side on the outside, the bigger pony beads would work well too, or if you want to try using 2 bands to wrap around this, instead of just 1. I know some people say that the eyes kind of fall back inside when you do it with just the 1 band, so that'd be an option as well. If you're going to use a bead for the eye, you're going to want to find something that you can put into a V-shape, piece of string, floss thread, anything that will fit through the center of your bead. I'm going to use the 7mm pony bead still, but you're going to take 2 bands, the color of your tomato, put them in the center, and then thread it through the center of your bead, and then pull it down, and now you have a beaded eye band, and you need 2 of those if you're going to do the beads. So then the cheeks are made the same way as the eyes are. 1 band the color of your cheek that you want on the hook, wrap it around once into the figure 8, grab both sides, wrap it around again, and then 2 bands the color of your tomato, pulled through like so. And of course I'm using red to make another tomato, but you can use like light greens, or the neon greens would be good because they do have, like, fried green tomatoes are tasty, so do that as well. Need 2 of these. And then we have our loom, 1 loom of course. We're going to be working on 12 pins, and for starting we're going to use the green bands. And this is kind of a little bit different in how we do this. So I'm going to kind of work up here in the center area, and what we're going to do is 2 bands and just kind of pick a pin somewhere in the middle here, but I guess I'm starting on the 6th pin up, so if you want to be the same, 2 bands like this, 2 more bands. Let's just say almost everything is doubled banded in this, so just kind of assume that when I grab the bands. And just follow where I'm putting them here. Long stretch for this one. And this one is an even longer stretch. 2 bands, and you're going to go all the way up, past a pin, and around the next one. Then 2 more bands. Long stretch again to this pin. And then to here, like that so far. Then we're going to move and we're going to do the same thing down below. So 2 bands from this pin, we're going to kind of work around the circle. So right here, and go to the next pin down, then a long stretch, then a very long stretch, Another long stretch. And right here, lastly. Just like that. So push those down. Then we want 2 bands. I'm going to start up here first. We're going to wrap it around like 3 times. Want it tight but not too tight. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in through our cap band here that we just put on and loom out all the way around, all the way back to where it was. So it does get a little tight at times, but it's not super bad. So you're going to go in through that cap band, grab the top 2 bands and pull them back towards the pin that they're on. And do that all the way around. I will say too, I haven't stuffed my designs, but you certainly are welcome to do that when you get towards the end, when you're closing it. So if that's something you want to do, then you want to have some stuffing ready. Although I do enjoy just having the growing up design, shapes definitely look rounder when it's the other side. So I did all these on this side. And we need to pull this cap band down to here. But first I'm just going to kind of stretch. I'm grabbing onto that center cap band and I'm stretching it this way. Just to give it a little bit of more stretch to get down below. Because this does get tight as we're doing this end. And if you want to even stretch it more, pull this cap band on the other side of this pin, which will help get some of the tension away. It's still very tight, but as soon as we get these loomed out, a couple of them, it starts to pull this away so they're not so bad. Just loom everything out like we did before. All the way around. So now we have that. You can flip this back on the other side. So push these down. And now we want red. These are Rainbow Loom bands, so I was able to do it with them. They're the tighter ones that I'm aware of, so it is possible. I'm going to use the Wonder Loom bands again this time just because they're a little bit shinier like a tomato. But 2 bands, and we're going to go all the way around the outside of our top here. So starting down here, I'm going to make a row around. Somebody asked me if I was left-handed, and I said, no, I'm right-handed. And I said, well, that's weird because you're so creative, so you should be left-handed. But I did realize that I do have 2 children, or 2 of my 4 children are left-handed, and their dads are not. So I think that maybe I have some kind of recessive left-hand gene, and maybe I was one of those kids where my parents made me do things with my right hand because I didn't want a lefty. But I just thought that was kind of funny. Maybe you do too. I guess I can't be creative if I'm right-handed, so. But like that. And what we're going to do is flip over the green bands all the way around. So let's grab them up over the top. Pull them over. Like so. Push those down. Now we're going to kind of do, to kind of give it the misshapen tomato appearance, we're going to do some kind of weird rows here. And what we're going to do is, we're going to start kind of up here and then come around and then go around this way a little bit. But first 1 band right here at the top. then 2 bands over on the next one. Oops. And 2 bands on the next one. And 2 more bands right here. And finally 1 band right here. And then skip a spot right here, and there's going to be 1 band right here. And then 2 bands on the end here. Guess they're so shiny they're slippery. And 2 more bands right next to it. 2 more. And then finally 1 band right here. So 1 band, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. So now when we flip these over, we are not going to flip over the ones that just have the single band at the top. We're going to go to the next one over where this one has 3. So we're going to flip over the bottom 4 here. And here the bottom 4. Up at the top, bottom 4. And then over here, we're going to flip the bottom 4, and there's only 3 here, but we're still going to flip it over. And then right here we don't flip. We won't flip here, but we will right here. And flip around, just like on the other end. But then we won't flip where we have that single again. So we flipped over every pin except for these 4. So you push those down, and we're going to do the exact same thing right on top of this. So 1 band up here, then 2 bands, then 2 bands, 2 bands, and 1 band. And skip a space, and it's 1 band, 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 more bands, and 1 band. So like that, just like we did before. We're going to flip them over just like we did before too. So even though there's 2 bands here, we're still going to skip these pins. So flip these 4 over the top. There'd be 3 on that one, I guess. 3 pin. You just want to leave on the corners here, there's 3 to flip over. So leave this one. So here's 3, 4, 4, and 3. So we have 4, 3, 4 underneath the 2 on these 2 pins, 3 on the corner, 4 on this pin. This is 4, this is 3, and then these 2 are the 4 underneath the 2, which we didn't do anything, and then 3 on this corner. Push them down. Now we're going to do a row all the way around with 2 bands. So I'm just going to start at the bottom and go around. I use Rainbow Loom teal at the top too, in case people want to know. Like so. Now we're going to flip over everything that is underneath the top bands we just put on. So like on these pins, it's going to be 6 bands. These will just be 3 and 4. So whatever's underneath the row we just put on is going to get flipped over. Like so. Push those down. And we're going to do yet another row all the way around with just 2 bands. So start here again and go all the way around. Like so. And again, flip over the bottom bands. There'll be 4 on every pin this time. Like so. Push those down. And if at any time this starts getting too squishy, just go in and let them come up over the pin a little bit. Like I said, we do turn this inside out, so you don't have to necessarily have it come up super far, but just so it's not in your way of looming. So our next row is going to be our eye row. So you want your eyes. And then you might as well have your cheeks, because they're next. But we're going to put the eyes right here. So first 2 bands. I'm going to start down here. 2 more bands. And then our eyes will go right here. Like so. And then 2 bands all the way around the rest. Like that. Oops. Then flip over the bottom 4 all the way around. Like so. Push those down. Next is our cheek row, so it's going to be the exact same as the last row, except for we're going to put cheeks where we had the eyes. So 2 bands starting down here. And we'll go another 2 bands, then our cheeks. And 2 more bands. And then 2 bands around the rest. like so. Then flip over the bottom 4. Like that. Now we need to put on the mouth. So whatever color you want for the mouth, you're going to want to find a band, put it on your hook, wrap it around once into a figure 8. And then right here between the cheeks, stick your hook in through, grab those bands that are on the pin, pull them off, slide down your mouth band, and then replace those bands back onto the pin. Like that. Now we're going to do another full row around with 2 bands. 2 bands. Like so. Then we'll flip the bands over. Like that. Now we're going to do another little half row, just like we did before at the very beginning. And this is just to give the tomato a little dimension on the bottom end. So 1 band right here. And then 2 bands. 2 bands. 2 bands again, and 1 band. Skip a spot, then we'll do 1 band, and then 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, and 1 band. Like that. And then again we're going to skip flipping over anything right here where the single band is on top, but all the other pins we will. So we'll skip that. We'll skip this and go to here. And here. So we didn't flip anything over on these 4 pins right here. And we are almost done. Super fast. For me anyways, right? So 2 bands, we're going to do a row all the way around again. I already filmed the tutorial tonight, and I think I ran out of things to say because I was very talkative in my last one, so I apologize if there's a lot of silence in this one. Although I'm sure some of you don't enjoy all my banter, but I try to tell little funny stories sometimes. Kind of laugh, where I'm chuckling to myself, but then I wonder, God, I wonder if anybody else finds them funny, so hopefully. So roll all the way around. So we're going to flip over all the bands underneath, including the single band when we get to these two pins. So we'll start there first. So the single band ones go over, so we just want the 4 bands left on the pin that we just put on from the row. And again, some of the pins, we're just going to have 3 there because of that half row, but those go over. We're still going to leave 4 up above. So like that. So now it's time to close. And so you can do this by threading a band through, making your big long threading band chain thing like that, or you can do it on the loom. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. You can use the latch hook to close it, or I'm going to just use my rainbow loom hook. So if you'll notice, this is kind of, like I said, we are going to flip this inside out. Using my rainbow loom hook, there is not a lot of room for this to slide up, and there are a lot of bands we're going to take off. So as I go around, I'm going to make sure to hold the center of this down, because as I go, as I'm pulling up the sides, this will, you guys kind of watch here, I'm going to start here, and as I go, I'm just going to kind of slide them up a little bit more than usual. But as I start pulling up, and as long as I'm pushing on the center, I'm going to end up pulling up the sides, but the center is going to stay down. Whoa. Slippery bands. But you can see how I'm pulling it up and the outside is coming up. So that's kind of why I'm pushing down in the middle. These bands really are slippery, so it's not a reflection of how tight it is there. So I have all of these on my rainbow loom hook. Feel pretty proud of that. And I'm going to close it. So 2 bands on my hook, and then I'm just going to start pulling them through. I'm pulling up with a lot of tension this way, and then my hook is pointed down towards my project, so it slides through easier. I know this is kind of the horrible spot of if you lose it here, then it's kind of hard to save it again. Possible, but hard. And usually it's only when I get to the very last spot that it gets a little difficult. So now, if you want to stuff this, now would be the time to do that, because it's open. Or if you just want to give it a little stretch, to be a good time to do it. But now you want to close it, so both ends on your hook, and pull it through, make that slip knot. And I like to take it and squish it down towards the top, kind of make a little flat pancake type thing, and then pull tight, just because it kind of tells the bands this is where I want you to go. But it doesn't always work very well, so pulling the bands out. This is why I do not necessarily enjoy doing the ones that come out like this, because they do end up, sometimes they need stuffing, sometimes they don't. I don't think they do, but it just means that you have to play around with it a little bit more to get the bands where you want them to be. And plus, I have enough cat hair floating around my craft room that I certainly don't want to end up using cotton and all other stuff to put in my projects. But we want to make our stem, and that will change the shape as well. So I'm going to stick my hook under the cap band on one side, under the cap band on the other side. And we're going to take 2 bands, double them on the end of our hook, pull them through, both on the hook. Two more bands, doubled, pull them through, and then one band pulled through, both ends on the hook, and a slip knot. And I'll kind of pull it towards the back when I do the slip knot. And then I'll hide my tails for both ends. If I can get up there. I never worry about the shape until I'm all done getting things manipulated where I need to go with like the closing bands and the stems or leaves and things like that, because there's no point because you're going to be squishing it. So that. Hide the other one. But of course, like I said, if you stuff it, it wouldn't be quite as difficult. But like I said, I don't like the idea of using cotton, and bands are at a premium sometimes, so I don't want to use all my bands up either. Or my bracelets that I enjoy, I don't want to stuff those in there either. So, I think that looks pretty good, that shape right there. But if you need to, just taking your hook in, pulling out the bands where they need to go, that is usually all it takes. I mean, you see me play with it right in front of you, so it didn't take me too long to get a good shape for it. Let's put that eye like that. Squishing it this way helps, gets you a nice appearance. I think it turned out pretty adorable. Of course, if you make any of these, I would love for you to share them with me on my Instagram page or on my Facebook page. My Instagram is at Crafting Fantastic, and my Facebook is either feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. Both should find me, I hope. At least it has been working that way. Otherwise, there's a link below the video. And then, of course, subscribing to my channel will help you find out when I'm coming out with new designs for you to do. I have some really cute ones in store, so I'm kind of working through ones that I know some people will consider, well, she made those like the pineapple with a ton of wrapped bands, or the strawberry, or some of the more involved and complicated ones. I know some people are, why don't you have some of those? These ones are so easy. And although they're not easy for everybody, but I'm working on some projects that are taking a little bit more time, and I'm hoping that everybody will enjoy them when I'm done. So it's kind of why we're going through a lot of the rounder objects. So, but I think that they're just as important and needed in our lovely Happy Food series. So hope you enjoy them as well. But I want to thank you for watching. I definitely appreciate it, and I will have more tutorials for you soon.